Hi, everybody, and welcome back to Mike Burstyn and Friends. I'm Mike Burstyn, and my friend this time really needs no introduction. She is a fantastic actress and singer. She was nominated, among other things, for a Primetime Emmy Award for Outstanding Guest Artist in a Drama Series for St. Elsewhere. 1993 for the Tony Award for Best Featured Actress in a Musical for My Favorite Year. She was nominated for a Golden Globe Award for her role in My Favorite Year. And well, I guess this is going to give it away. She played Maria Portokalos in My Big Fat Greek Wedding and in the sequel, My Big Fat Greek Wedding 2. Now, along with 5 of her feature films, her latest feature film, Tango Shalom, was just featured in the American Jewish Film Festival on Juicy TV, and it will open in theaters in New York on September 3rd and in Los Angeles on September 10th. And whoever hasn't guessed yet, I'm talking about my friend Lainie Kazan. Hi, Lainie.
Hi, darling. How are you, Mike?
I'm well, and thank you for doing this. First of all, how are you coping with this crazy, twilight zone that we're living through?
It's difficult, but my children live close to me. I see them often. They wear masks, the little masks. They're 6 years old, and I have a grown 22-year-old. I'm just trying to be as safe as possible.
Yeah, that's all we can do, and be responsible for one another.
Yeah, I've been vaccinated. My kids have been, well, the 6-year-olds have not been vaccinated, but we're very careful with them. And my daughter's been vaccinated and my granddaughter, and we wear masks. And I try to stay home as much as possible. But when I do go out, I go out where I'm outside. I mean,
Yeah.
I go to restaurants, I sit outside.
There's a famous Hebrew saying, Kol Israel arevim ze laze, which translated roughly means the entire family of Israel are responsible one for the other. We're all responsible for each other. It's something that people should remember, because it's not just us, but we have to be responsible for our families, for our friends. And unfortunately, too many people don't understand that. It's a shame.
I know. I have a few friends who I think they're either ignorant or selfish.
Selfish.
It's selfish.
Selfish.
Yeah. Because they don't think about what the consequences are for the people that they come in contact with when they're not, protected. It's terrible.
They're also, listening to a lot of unfortunately Bobamaises and gossip, and people who are selling their own personal stories that are simply not true. And that's what we're living for. But let's, we have to look on the glass half full, and just make sure we take care of ourselves. So let's talk about happy things. First of all, before we go on, I want to talk about Tango Shalom, which I guess was delayed because of COVID, but is coming out now in theaters.
I was given the script by a gentleman who I had worked with on another project called Oy Vey, My Son is Gay.
Right, I remember that one.
Yeah. And I said to him, I can't do this. I can't do this. First of all, I hate the title. Secondly, I just don't care for the script. It's too dated. Anyway, to make a long story short, he gave it to Renee and Joe at my suggestion, and we rewrote the script, and they rewrote the character of mine, and they gave me back the script, and I said, okay, this is very funny, and I know the person who we can get as the dancer. And this girl is a friend of mine who was on Dancing with the Stars.
Oh.
And so we called her, and she came to my home, and we found out she could sing a little bit, and she was a magnificent dancer. And I can't remember her name because I'm old.
Well, speaking of names, just so that people will know, we're talking, when you say Joe and Renee, it's the late Joe Bologna and Renee, his wife. And, you know, you probably may know that Joe, may he rest in peace, who was probably, for me, one of the finest talents ever on screen or on stage. But when I did a one-man show about 10 years ago about Meyer Lansky, I asked Joe to direct it, and we really bonded since then.
I loved him.
A great loss, and
what a genius writer.
Yeah. So,
yeah, I worked with them all. I've worked with them since I'm a kid. We started working together in the 70s. We did so many projects, and some of them are still, being talked about and being, we did Bermuda Avenue Triangle.
Sure.
Oh my God. That's the funniest thing I've ever done.
But Renee, thank God, is, with us, and for many, many years. And everybody knows Renee from so many different things. Let me start by asking you just a little bit about yourself. You were born in Brooklyn, right?
I was.
Tell me a little bit about your home, your first years, your parents. I was born in the Bronx, so don't hold it against me.
No. I was born in Brooklyn, and I lived on a little dead-end street. The railroad, the BMT ran every 3 minutes across my bedroom window. It lulled me to sleep at night, and that's what I remember, the comfort and the sound of the train. I lived in an isolated, insular community of Jewish people. I think there was a woman who was Catholic on the block, and the superintendent. Otherwise, I knew nobody in the neighborhood. I thought everybody was Jewish. I never understood that there were other people in the world until I went to college, to be honest with you. I went to Erasmus Hall High School. I went to PS 92, and I spent those beginning years comforted by my neighbors and my friends. It was just a very, very wonderful, innocent, special life. My parents were wonderful. My mother was a homemaker, but she didn't do much other than make reservations, as they say, she made reservations. She was a beauty. She was exquisite looking, and she wore these glasses. She wore these glasses. They were shaped like this, and they had grapes hanging from them. And she would say to me, "Lainie, I'm so shy." I'd say, "Mom, a woman who wears glasses with grapes hanging from them cannot be shy."
Tell me a little bit about your dad.
My dad was a bookmaker, and I thought until I was about 10 or 12 that he was in publishing.
I was going to ask you, what kind of books did he publish?
Yeah, but he was a bookie, and it was a great life. I mean, we didn't know that it was a danger, and we didn't know it was illegal. We just knew that we went to Miami every winter, and we hopped on the train, and we went to the compartments and had picnics, and we went down to Florida and had such a great time every winter. We lived at the Shoreham Hotel, and we lived there. We had a permanent suite. We had a great life. We had a car, and we had as many things as we wanted, which kind of set the tone for my life. and how I lived my life with great gusto, like my dad, and with great passion.
Well, so having such a wonderful life, what made you decide to go into our business, which is such a frustrating and wonderful business, but you started on stage and did
Yeah,
something.
I never made a decision. My mother was like a backstage Mama Rose, a very
Ah,
gentle Mama Rose. She would always say, "Oh, my daughter, she's so wonderful, and she sings. Oh, you should hear her sing," And so they would give me the opportunity to sing for them. I was a dancer. I danced and I did all kinds of, Joffrey Holden and was my teacher, and I danced. I did interpretive with Martha Graham. I had always been involved from the time I was 4 years old. So my life was a constant growth in the business. I always took lessons. I always was harboring the desire to be special in this business. And my mother was a real supporter. My dad always joked, that routine cost me $4,000, he'd say. But he was great and he really supported my talent. And when I was about 16, I went to a woman whose name was Mabel Horsey. She was a big, heavy set Black woman who played a hot piano. She was unbelievable. And she introduced me to jazz. And it was something that I really just, it engulfed me and I loved it. And I started singing, you know, but show tunes and things like that. And I was asked to do. When I was in college, I was asked to sing at a couple of nightclubs in Long Island, and I did that. It was called the Lamplighter, I remember, and I just, I guess, it was a very nurturing environment, and I thought everybody had it so easy. I didn't know there were bad times in that business of mine. I didn't know. And because everybody, hired me, I mean, I was like, I think it had to do with my looks too. I was a very attractive young girl, didn't really know it. And I would be, called upon to do, a modeling job, or, I modeled hats. I did a lot when I was very young. And then I got into a show called Leave It to Jane. And that was the beginning of my career, really.
well,
I
sorry to interrupt, but you say you wanted to be special, but
mm,
what makes you special is that you're unique. There is nobody like you, and that's what made you so, I think, so successful and so popular, because you're special, but it's your uniqueness, and there aren't
but
many,
what makes me so unique? I don't understand.
because you are so flexible in our business. You are an actress, you are a singer, you are a comedian, and it's just uh, what made Sinatra unique. There was only one Sinatra. There's something special about you that nobody else has. We used to call it. I grew up in the Yiddish theater with my parents, and there was a little phrase called the rozhinke. When somebody has that there are a lot of talents in our business, but there's always that one little thing that puts you just a little more over that special that everybody has, and
That's so,
you can't put your finger on it. You're born with it, so
well, thank you. When I went to camp, and I went to a Jewish camp called Shanawa. And one of the counselors was Anne Bancroft. Anne Italiano was her name. And she chose me to be her like her right hand girl. And I would lie on the grass and she would tell me what to picture in the sky. And it was an extraordinary experience. I just loved everything she had to say. And I ate it up and I drank it. And she was my mentor at a very young age. And so, I was lucky. I was lucky to have found these people so young and so in my life that supported me.
And Lainie, not too many in our business can go from stage to screen to TV to recording. So you've done so. You started out on stage. You did some magnificent. Just going through the list, The Happiest Girl in the World, Funny Girl. You performed on Broadway, and you took over from
Barbara.
and I think it was you did she wasn't able to perform, and you did the entire matinee and evening. Is that right?
That is right.
Man of La Mancha, Seesaw, Gypsy, my favorite year. And by the way, 1993, I was starring in a Broadway musical called Ain't Broadway Grand. It was about Mike Todd. And we were so, hopeful that we would get Tony nominations. What happened was that a show called My Favorite Year came along and beat us in all the categories. So unfortunately,
I'm sorry.
it wasn't your fault, but I remember that we went to see it. It was wonderful. So from Broadway and stage, eventually your first move was to TV or to film?
To TV. I was on Merv Griffin had me on every week. That's where I met Renee Taylor. And we hooked up and did so many things together, play readings. And then eventually we did, a bunch of wonderful, wonderful Broadway shows. And
oh, by the way, you've got regards from Murray Schwartz. When he heard I was
give him my love.
Murray was the president of Merv Griffin Productions, and his partner. They started together, and he's great. And we got together after 40 years that we hadn't seen each other.
Oh my God! Isn't that wonderful about all of us? Because we work and we're so intimate with each other, and then we don't see each other for maybe 20 years, and
it doesn't
we
matter.
Take up right where we left off.
By the way, Lainie, Murray Schwartz was on that flight in 1976 that was hijacked to Entebbe. And luckily, because he was an American, they released him before the Israelis, rescued everybody. And as a result, he brought Merv's show to Israel and for a week, and I co-hosted the show with Merv.
Oh.
That's how I met Murray Schwartz, and that's 1977. Amazing.
And what were you doing in Israel at the time?
Well, I moved to Israel when I was a kid with my parents, and then I started working on my own and in television and film, and I became very popular in Israel. So I lived there most of my life, and I go back and forth. And by the way, folks, just in case you might notice that a couple of times Lainie moves in the frame, it's because we are doing this via iPhone. So we are, inventing a new form of Zoom here. So let me ask you now, you from television, what was your?
I started doing all the Merv Griffin shows. I would sing. I would put a new song together, and then I would sing it on the Merv Griffin show. And I really started basing my act on the songs and the things I did on the television show. He let me be so free and do. I found my sense of. Well, I was always funny. I was always a funny kid, but I found my comedic value when I did the Merv Griffin show. We would do, all kinds of sketches, and I did that on the Johnny Carson show as well. And then, of course, when the Dean Martin show booked me, I became a regular on that show. I did like 25 shows or something, and I sang, and it was an amazing experience. That show really took off. That was amazing. I
Uh,
worked with Dan, and then I did the summer show with Dan Rowan and Martin, Steve Martin.
you
Not
know,
Steve. Martin.
you've had the opportunity to work with so many over the years, and unfortunately, many of them are not with us anymore. And it was a different era. It was a different show business. But when you think back, who were the people that you were most happy to work with?
Dean Martin, Peter O'Toole,
Wow.
Judy Garland,
Ah,
and of course Dean Martin and Frank Sinatra. Frank Sinatra and I did a movie together, and we became friends. And I adored him. Dean Martin was such an unbelievable friend to me. When I left the show, he gave me a little MG that we used on the show. And I drove that. Couldn't drive it because it had 5 gears. And so I used it as a planter in front of my house. That's what I did.
a
I didn't know
little
what to do.
MG.
A little MG, yeah.
What about who are the people that unfortunately you couldn't get along with for whatever reason, that were not
Uh,
that nice? Not that we want to.
the only person who was difficult to get along with was Ethel Merman. I don't know what. Maybe she felt jealous. I don't know. I don't know what was her problem, but she had a problem with me, and she would say things to me that were mean, and I would cry,
Oh,
and I was very, very sensitive, and I didn't have the backbone to really confront her and tell her, please don't do that to me before I go on, or don't tell me I'm not dressed properly. And she would do all these things to me. And, but, I respected her so. And I was so happy to be on the program with her. She didn't know how thrilled I was to be working with her. And she and Dean, and we did a bunch of songs together on the Dean Martin show. And she was singing some song, like I think it was "Make Someone Happy" or something, and she was singing so loud in one. She would never acknowledge the fact that Dean and I were on stage with her. She would just sing like rah, 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 and she would sing "Make Someone Happy," yeah, and Dean and I would do this whispering while you cuddle. And the louder she sang, the softer we got. And we finally went on the floor and lay down on the stage. It was hysterical, but she didn't understand that's what she was doing. She didn't understand. And she was just very difficult.
you know,
That was,
my
pardon
favorite
me?
my favorite role of yours of all time for me was in my favorite year, your scenes with Peter OToole. How was it to work with him?
Oh my God. He was such a genius. He was so brilliant at what he did. And I'll never forget. I told this on another show, but I'll grant you the right to hear it. Mel Brooks said, "Would you like to meet Peter OToole?" And it was the night of the opening rehearsal. I said, "Of course. Oh my God, I'd be thrilled to meet him." So we knocked on his trailer door and we hear, "Come in." And it was like, a covered tone. When we got in, he was naked except for his little underwear.
Oh my
And
God.
he had a towel wrapped around his head. Head was in the sink. He was washing his hair. And he got up, wrapped the towel around his head, pulled it back and said, "Miss Kazan, I am so thrilled to meet you." And it was like he was wearing a tuxedo and a top hat. He was just so grand in his little jockey shorts. And I just roared. And I said to him, "I'm so thrilled to meet you. And I don't care how dressed or undressed you are." But it was hilarious. And we became fast friends. He would always, if I was in a room and he saw me, he would get up and walk over to me and greet me. I was just honored and thrilled to be in his
Oh my
company.
God. Well,
What a brilliant, brilliant man.
Lainey, these are stories that, when we look back at the time, I mean, you started very young. I started in the business when I was 7. And looking back,
7.
I was 7, yeah, with my parents in the Yiddish theater. And looking back, I think we were the lucky ones. I really do, to have been able to work with such amazing, gifted people and enjoyed what we do, because I'm sure you feel the same. We love what we do. Otherwise, we wouldn't do it, because it's not an easy business. But you can tell when I went to see you a couple of times in cabaret, that you feel like you're enjoying it because Lainie is enjoying it. And that's such a special quality that I think makes the difference. Do you
I think
still
that's true. I
you
think
still
that's
love it?
true.
You still love the business?
I do. I love it. I mean, I think to myself, oh my God, I have to go to New York. I've got to, pack up. I've got to, you know, um, pack my gowns and pack my music and take my lessons. I always take voice lessons, no matter if I'm singing. I start studying months before. I just get myself in shape like a fighter, and I keep my body, in the same, I try and keep it healthy, and I swim.
I do too. That's my favorite sport, swimming.
Yeah, I swim every day as much as I can, and I know I'm preparing for my gift, preparing to possess my gift, to express my gift, and have people acknowledge it. I love what I do. I love what I do. I teach, I don't know if you know, but now I'm an adjunct professor at
At
UCLA,
UCLA, I do know, yes.
and I love teaching. I never thought I'd be teaching, but I adore it. I adore it, and my students adore me, and I have a great time. And I have so much to give them. I have so many things to tell them, to teach them, to show them. And I do, and I try to give them my heart and soul. And I think the students who work with me walk away with many presents, many gifts.
Well, you cannot put a value enough on experience, and your experience is what is you're contributing to them. It's your experience, and you can't buy that. You can't buy that kind of experience. So, Lainey, what are you planning to do until you reach 120? Because that's the,
Thank you.
we say in
I am
Jewish,
going to
is
do my
120.
I'm going to do my big fat wedding 3.
Oh, you're kidding.
No, shooting. We were supposed to start shooting in Greece, and we were supposed to start in September, but I don't think that's going to happen with this new strain. I think that we're not going to be able to shoot in Greece. We'll either go to Canada or we'll wait. And then I go to New York and sing at Feinstein's. I'm doing that in May. In May. I know it's far away, but it hits you very quickly.
Yeah, no, by then things should be better as well.
It should be. And then I go to not Vitello's, Vibrato.
Vibrato. Vibrato
Yeah.
is right where we live, up on Beverly Glen.
You live there? Oh my
We
God!
live there. We'll be there for opening night.
Oh, great!
Oh, wonderful! Oh, that's great.
Yeah. So
And
I'm
listen,
doing that, and I have a few things. You know, a couple of people have approached me, but I don't want to do too much. I get really tired, so I'll do the odd or the perfect, wonderful piece. You know. And then Renee and I have been talking about doing something together. So it's all good. It's all good.
Oh, it's wonderful. And, you know, we all need a purpose to get up in the morning and an incentive. And that's the most wonderful incentive is you can do what you love to do in your business. And so I wish you, you know, break a leg.
Oh God, don't say that. I did already.
I know you have, but
I broke my leg and had 4 surgeries on my leg. I have a pole in my leg.
Well, I didn't mean it literally, but you know, every time I watch these game shows or the America's Got Talent, and they always say good luck. And that is not what you say in our, I'm surprised that they say good luck, because good luck in our business is just the opposite. We always say break a leg or mare,
right.
But I didn't mean it literally. And listen, don't forget, my wife always says that I look like a Greek god. So
Wow.
when they're casting My Big Fat Greek Wedding 3, remember me. Tell them there is a Greek god living on Beverly Glen, okay?
I will definitely do that.
Now, I want to ask you something I always ask my friends before we finish our schmooze, and that is, if I were to ask you about one individual that inspired your life, who would it be?
Inspired my life or my career?
Your life, either one. I would say, no, I'd rather hear about your life.
Wow. Well, Judy Garland inspired my career. I was so mad about her, and I watched her every move, and she loved what she did. She did it because she loved everything and everyone, and that was that. And to inspire my life, wow.
I know it's a tough question.
Whoa, that's a really tough question. I don't know. I just didn't really think about life. I only thought about my career. I just, you know, I was enamored with Sophia Loren. I was enamored by all the great thinkers. I mean, my college professors and so many people added to my life and made my life have meaning. I have to really sit down and think about it. I can't.
Good. I gave you something for our next schmooze, for our next.
I would love that. I would love that. I'd have to really think about it because my life is so, what's the word I'm looking for? It's
Blessed.
so diverse, and there's so many people in so many departments of my life that have inspired me. I'd really like to think about it.
Good.
And get back to you.
Yeah, okay. Okay, that'll give us a reason to do another schmooze.
Okay.
Thank you so much,
Oh, my
Lainey. Thank
pleasure,
you.
Mike. I'm sorry we had all the technical issues.
No, nobody's going to know that because once I edit it, all the technical issues will be gone, and it'll be perfect. Oh well, it's been really a pleasure. I mean, we've known each other for a long time, and I wish you good health, which is the most important thing. I know it's a cliche, but our most important right now is we should all be healthy and safe. And everybody, make sure if you're in LA or New York this September, go and see Tango Shalom. And from
Oh,
me,
yes, please. We open on September 1st.
no,
No,
September
we
3rd.
don't. That's
September 3rd.
the premiere.
Oh, okay.
September,
September
yeah,
1st is the premiere. Okay. Are you going to be at it here in
of
LA?
course, of course. It's a
So,
beautiful film, and
okay.
it's a
So,
funny film, and it's a delicious film, and you will enjoy it. Please go and go and get your heart touched.
well, let me know about the opening. We'll come and cheer you
Will
on.
you come? It's.
Absolutely.
I think it's the first. Is the
Uh,
actual opening?
but
Not the actual opening, but the premiere.
but that's in New York. I think LA is
No,
on
no,
the 10th.
no. Here,
Oh, here? Okay,
yes.
great. Oh, well, let
In
me
New York,
know.
it's not having a premiere. It was supposed to, but then we decided that the most of the people were here, and that's what we should. That's what we should do.
Great. Please send me an invitation, and Siona and
You
I
got it.
will
You
be
got
there.
it.
Thank you. Love you. And thank you,
Thank
folks,
you.
for joining us today. And we'll see you again. And shalom.